Yeah, man. The boys are here, the girls are here, and the muscle men are here. Bikini chicks are the bait, and romance the reward.
Now, Dee Dee,
I have just one question. Did you kiss him because he's lovable or because he's the only man on the beach?
Well, no, don't quit now, Dee Dee. I think you're ahead.
Okay, how's this for a closer?
Muscle Beach Party, a melange of muscles, hit music, and mirth.
Lore, go Lore!
We go any lower, we'll cut off their heads.
I'm not interested in their heads.
Listen to me. Buy Sicily. Okay. You buy half of Sicily. Let Sinatra have the other half.
Onward, men! The war's begun!
Oh, wait a minute, Fanny!
Okay, fellas, come on, we're ready. Come on.
Onward!
And if this isn't your idea of fun, then you're a rat fink.
We're not talking about actors. We mean a real monster.
I brought her back. She'll live and I'll get her another body.
I know they're gonna kiss me, but don't let anyone see me like that. Please, doctor, help me!
Biologically speaking, it's of primary importance that man should want to mate. Hey, that's...
You don't get all your kicks from surfing, do you?
We want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man. And we want to get loaded.
You think you're gonna make a slave of the world? I'll see you in hell first!
The American International Podcast.
Are you ready?
Hey everyone, surf's up, so oil up and join us for a Muscle Beach Party on the American International Podcast, where, well, I gave it away. We're talking about Muscle Beach Party from 1964. I'm Cheryl Lightfoot.
And I'm Jeff Markin.
Muscle Beach Party was directed by William Asher from a screenplay by Robert Dillon, and the stories by Robert Dillon and William Asher. The movie was produced by Robert Dillon, Busy Guy, and James H. Nicholson.
Muscle Beach Party stars, surprisingly enough, Frankie Avalon as Frankie, Annette Funicello as Dee Dee, Luciana Paluzzi as Contessa Juliana, Julie Giotto-Borgini.
Oh, is that how you spell that?
John Ashley as Johnny, Don Rickles as Jack Fanny, Peter Turgeon as Theodore, Jody McCrea as Deadhead, Dick Dale as himself, Candy Johnson as Candy, Rock Stevens as Flex Martian, Valora Noland as Animal, Delores Wells as Sniffles, Donna Loren as Donna.
It also stars Morey Amsterdam as Cappy, Little Stevie Wonder as himself, Buddy Hackett as S.Z. Matz, Dan Haggerty as Biff, Larry Scott as Rock, Gordon Case as Tug, Gene Shuey as Riff, Chester Yorton as Hulk, Bob Seven as Sulk, Steve Mergenian as Claude, Alberta Nelson as Lisa, one of Jack Fanny's assistant, Amity Shabbat as Flo, the other of Jack Fanny's assistants, and Peter Lorre as Mr. Strangdower.
A quick note, the names that we gave for the muscle men seem to be interchangeable.
It really doesn't matter.
Sometimes the character's name changes within
they answer to
the
one
film.
Name or another. It hardly matters.
Muscle Beach Party opens up a little differently than any of the movies we've seen before. It opens up with a cartoon. There's a little fella who doesn't want to go out.
Or his mom didn't want him to go out because she said he would get hit in the head with a surfboard. And then the guy with the surfboard said, well, that's ridiculous. Then he turns around and hits him with the surfboard.
Ha! And then we have title, Muscle Beach Party.
This opens up much the same as the original Beach Party movie, where Frankie, Dee Dee, who used to be Delores, and the gang are convoying down the Pacific Coast Highway. They make a right turn at Topanga, or Malibu, not sure, to park at their cramped beach house. Along the way, Dick Dale and the Dell Towns all sing Surfer's Holiday.
When the gang reaches the beach house, Frankie tells everyone to hurry up, and so everyone does. They grab their stuff, and everybody rushes inside, including Dee Dee, much to the dismay of Frankie, who was hoping for a little affection before he went inside himself.
Yes, and in the first of many annoying fourth wall breaks, he looks at us and says, "Not again." And you'd have to have seen Beach Party to know what that means. And the next thing you know, it's nighttime. A mysterious man in a suit and a bowler walks down to the beach. He holds a lantern of some kind and signals a ship that's somewhere off the coast. Then he drags out a yellow raft and heads to the shore.
Now we're inside the beach house. Everyone is getting ready for bed. The boys are on the floor in one room, and the girls have hung blankets and towels between their rooms.
The boys aren't happy with this arrangement, which was, as you might expect, all Dee Dee's idea. They invite the girls over, the girls debate it, And when they finally do decide to cross the border, they peek through the other side to find all the boys already asleep. Except for Frankie, who once again mugs for the camera.
But the next morning, it surfs up, so everybody's up early. Everybody grabs their boards and heads out into the ocean, and they notice a large yacht not too far off the coast.
After surfing, everyone throws down their towels and lays down on the sand, except for some groupies who are waiting orders from Frankie. He sends them off for hot dogs. Dee Dee kneels next to Frankie, putting suntan lotion on his back, while he waxes fondly about the great waves he hasn't quite surfed yet. Here's where we start to notice some conflict between Frankie and Dee Dee, who clearly are starting to want different things out of life. That's all I'm going to say about that.
One of the girls comes back with Frankie's hot dog. This is Animal. We recognize her as Rhonda from Beach Party. Not sure if she's the same character or not. But anyway, Animal is a little clumsy. She trips and spills the soda and hot dog all over Frankie.
She gets him in the crotch with a nice cold drink.
Dee Dee asks if anyone has any Dramamine because this exchange is making her ill. And Deadhead asks if Dee Dee is sick. Johnny offers his soda to Dee Dee, who thanks him and says Frankie never does anything nice for her.
Never.
He's always too busy looking for the next 80-foot wave. And the mention of 80-foot waves excites Deadhead, and he's really disappointed to learn that there aren't any of those here right now.
He's so cute. Now we hear a trumpet fanfare. A group of pink-caped and pink teeny bikinied bodybuilders come out and stand at attention with trainer Jack Fanny and 2 muscle girls in attendance. Then the main attraction, Flex Martian, appears. He's also known as Mr. Galaxy, and his teeny bikini is purple.
The gang watches with amusement at this freak show. Jack Fanny's assistants, the muscle girls, drag barbells out in front of the lineup of muscle men. Frankie makes a comment that they know how to treat their women.
They know how to get maximum value out of their women is what I think he means.
The girls lift the barbell up and hand it to Jack Fanny, who takes it and falls backwards.
Jack Fanny struts around in front of the men, spouting some nonsense. As he does, he starts grinding Johnny's blanket into the sand. Johnny's not happy about this, so he and Deadhead go over and snatch it back while Jack's standing on it, knocking him over. Then Jack makes one of his muscle men grab Johnny and use his head to literally draw a line in the sand between the 2 houses. The beach is now divided, and the kids must stay on one side, and the muscle men will be on the other. Never the twain shall meet.
After Jack Fanny and the muscle men head back to their side of the beach, Deadhead says to Johnny, "I always knew you'd make headlines."
Actually really laughed at that joke.
It's one of 3 good jokes in this movie.
Spoiler alert. From the ship out at sea, Theodore, the man in the suit and the bowler that we saw at the beginning of the movie, is spying on Flex with a telescope, despite there being a plethora of greasy tan man-meat to ogle. But he's not looking for his own enjoyment. Oh no. He's doing this for someone else. Theodore works for S.C. Matz, a wheeler-dealer who buys Sicily, well, the half that Sinatra doesn't own. He and Theodore are working for the Contessa, a possibly spoiled rich woman for whom he buys Sicily and builds space needles in Iowa and other crazy stuff.
So Theodore confirms to S.C. Matz that they're, quote, on the beach, even the big one, and he shudders. And shouldn't they alert the Contessa? So S.C. goes to wake the Contessa. She asks for coffee, so S.C. picks up a phone and makes an order for coffee. Then he tells her that she just bought Sicily. She asks if she wanted Sicily, and S.C. answered, who doesn't?
Okay. Here are some facts about the Contessa. Her name is Julie, that's what she goes by, and she basically sleeps all day. S.C. manages all her business affairs. She's the daughter of the late businessman Rocky Valenti, but that's not her last name. Her full name is Juliana Giotto-Borgini, and she is a Contessa. She's very pretty. She likes her name. She got it when she married. However, now she is a widow, and that's all I know.
When the coffee arrives, it's placed on the table, and S.C. pours a cup for Julie. Julie asks if they found him, and S.C. confirms that they did. But he does think it's ridiculous falling for a picture of a man in a magazine. He leaves while Julie admires the magazine in question. It's an issue of Muscle magazine, and the cover features Flex Martian, the new Mr. Galaxy.
Now we see the surf gang jumping and jiving on the beach, and they are also being observed by Theodore and S.Z.
And they're watching when Candy starts doing her thing. Her hip shaking causes surfers to wipe out.
Yeah, she's doing her imitation of a washing machine agitator. She did it in the first Beach Party movie. We also see Jack Fanny presiding over his muscle men, talking pure nonsense about muscles and other stuff. The Contessa comes on deck and has decided it's time to head for shore. She and SC board a helicopter, and they fly that way. They start buzzing the beach to everyone's befuddlement.
Julie, looking down at her Mr. Galaxy, Says he looks even better in person. The chopper sets down, and Frankie says, "Man, this is one crazy beach." Dee Dee tells him he can say that again. So Frankie does, and then he tries to feign a look of innocence as he slides down his board.
And away from her slapping hands, I guess.
Jack Fanny starts blowing his whistle at the chopper that just landed right by him and his muscle men. And an annoyed Jack Fanny runs up to them to see what they're doing here.
He's all a twitter. SC goes over to him to try to smooth his ruffled feathers. And Julie walks in front of the muscle meat standing at attention.
SC introduces himself, and he asks who he's speaking with, and Jack Fanny, whose name is on his shirt, says, "Can't you read? I'm Jack Fanny." And SC says, "Oh, he's Jack Fanny." Then he tells him, "I would keep that quiet." That's laugh number 2.
Julie has decided to inspect the muscle meat who's standing at attention for her. She looks every man over, and when she stands in front of Flex, a little animated Cupid in swim trunks plays his heart-shaped harp, and then she is truly smitten. He, Flex, is truly indifferent. It takes a little of her smittenness away, but she's not going to give up. She sizes up his suitability from head to toe. Jack Fanny, seeing this, objects to a woman judging his man-meat.
SC explains that she's rich and she's a Contessa.
And she's very, very rich.
Jack Fanny, when he hears that she's rich, says that Flex is under contract and he owns them. So SC asks how much, and can he buy just the one, or do they have to buy the whole lot?
Julie asks to be formally introduced to Flex, so Jack tells her the ridiculous made-up name of all his hunks.
He probably says he made up all those names himself. Then when he gets to Flex Martian, he made up that name too. SC says that he had a feeling that was one of his names. Then SC drags Jack off so Julie and Flex can be alone.
He says that it's nice to meet her, and she seems a little shy. Julie begins to flirt a little, though. Julie tells Flex everything that she likes about him, and Flex tells Julie everything that he likes about himself.
Julie tells him he's strong, to which he replies, "I'm the strongest." And handsome, Julie says, and Flex says he's the handsomest. And Julie says that she wants to be alone with him, and his reply is, "Did you see this tricep? It ripples."
He's not really listening to her, but she keeps trying. Eventually he snaps at her that if he goes with her, he'll miss his lunch. But she says that she will feed him. And then we see SZ signing a paper on Jack's back, promising something bigger than Mr. Galaxy.
Jack takes the paper and says he'll have to run it by his silent partner, Mr. Strangdower. He bends things.
Julie calls out that she's taking Flex to the yacht for lunch. Jack cries out, "Don't forget to bring him back." SC says they will when she's through with him.
SC says that there's not enough room in the chopper for Flex with them. In fact, there's not even enough room for him without them. Flex tells them to relax, that he thinks of everything. He tells them to get in the chopper and to go ahead and take it up. Then Flex grabs onto a bar hanging from the chopper, and it flies back to the boat, and he does chin-ups all the way.
And Jack is absolutely beside himself this whole time. Oh, and just in case you forgot that the Beach Party gang is also in this movie, we see them watching this spectacle. Dick Dale wishes for a drummer who could swing like that. Haha.
As the chopper sets down near the boat, Flex is dropped off first since he's not in the chopper, and Theodore is just sickened by the sight of him. But now we're back to the beach, and surf's up again.
So they surf until nightfall.
Yeah, we get a nice montage of everyone surfing and wiping out and just having a grand time.
It's kind of what these movies are for. Now it's evening, and Dee Dee and Frankie are on the beach having a tender moment, literally just the one moment, before she starts to nag at him. Frankie has so much going for him, if only he'd apply himself to something beyond the next big wave. He objects. The beach is free and the sky goes all the way up. Dee Dee thinks there's more to life, and they start to bicker. She wants a house and a family. He thinks she wants to slap the cuffs on. She says it's a house, not a coffin, and he says to him it's a mortgage, being forced to work 8 to 5 to pay it back for the rest of his life. She looks miserable, as she should. They're totally incompatible.
Dee Dee wants him to make a real commitment and make her his wife, but Frankie is happy the way things are. He just wants to have fun right now. So he takes a surfboard and a torch and goes out to hit the surf.
He puts on a butter yellow neoprene scuba suit top.
Dee Dee watches him from the beach and sings "A Girl Needs a Boy."
It sounds really echoey.
Well, it's double-tracked or triple-tracked or quadruple-tracked. It's multi-tracked.
It's not.
So it's something you do when you record your voice and then you sing along with the recording to give it a fuller sound, but it's not a natural sound. So when somebody is standing alone on the beach singing, it feels very out of place.
It really does. Over at Muscles Central, Theodore is going over the new contract with Jack. Jack gets his name on 207 or so gyms, and also his own brand of wheat germ bread that'll be shaped in the face of Flex Martian.
Yes, SC and the Contessa will gain possession of the muscle men and all accessories, the muscle girls. And that includes Mr. Galaxy.
Wow, what a bargain.
Jack likes the part about the gyms with his name on them, but still feels he should talk with Mr. Strangdower, because he bends things.
Jack is also currently fretting at why Flex isn't home yet. It's evening. Lunch would have ended a long time ago. With good timing, Julie and SC choose that moment to drop Flex back off at home. He's unhappy to have missed his wheat germ after all. He talks about his muscles a bit more, yawn. Then Jack comes out and sees him, tells him to go inside and eat.
He was supposed to have gone Betty by an hour ago. So when Flex goes inside, Julie goes off to get some air. And then Theodore runs out to inform SC that the contract has not been signed yet because they have a language barrier, English. So SC starts to work on Jack himself.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take advantage of Jack, but... And then they walk away. Julie wanders towards the surfer side of the beach. Frankie comes to shore and runs up to his board. I guess it's leaning up against a fence by the cottage. And he grabs his cigarettes and lights one. Cool. Julie mimics him, lighting her own smoke. Frankie notices that his first cigarette is bent, so he throws it down and lights another one. He's a litterer.
Then he sings A Boy Needs a Girl, which is A Girl Needs a Boy turned inside out.
Julie smiles as she listens to him sing, and she seems to take this song as an invitation. A cartoon imp blows a starter's trumpet, and the race is on. She goes over to talk to him, asking if it's okay if she shares his beach, and he allows it. Then she starts the full court press. She's flirting hard. That's not Frankie's style. He likes to make all the moves, but she doesn't like to wait.
She kisses him, and with perfect timing, Dee Dee walks up. Frankie immediately jumps up and asks Dee Dee if she remembers her name's Julie. And yeah, Dee Dee remembers. She says who could forget the bride of Godzilla. Frankie starts to try to calm her down, but it seems Julie can handle it herself. She and Dee Dee trade insults, and Frankie starts to enjoy this. He runs commentary on their argument.
I think he's egging them on. There's something about Frankie being a sad, hungry puppy who never gets fed at home. And Dee Dee counters that she's a one-woman breadline feeding all the men. I'm paraphrasing a bit. But finally, Dee Dee has had enough. She slaps Frankie and goes back in the house. Frankie apologizes for Dee Dee to Julie, and then Julie kisses him.
Julie starts to leave, and Frankie asks her where she's going. Julie says that she has a lot of arrangements to make. You see, she thinks she's going to be in love with someone. You have to arrange that? Asks Frankie. And she says, oh yes, especially if that someone is going to be you. She gives him another peck on the cheek and flitters off. Then Frankie breaks the fourth wall for the umpteenth time in this movie to tell us that he doesn't deserve such happiness.
I agree. Over at the Himbo house, SC is hammering out the final terms of the deal. Flex, Mr. Galaxy, will win a bigger title than Mr. Galaxy, and Julie will be the judge. Oh, and also because he's strong, Jack Fanny doesn't want to ignore that part.
And SC says, yeah, sure, whatever, just sign right here. And Jack signs, and SC tells him it's been a pleasure doing business with a Fanny like him. Then SC goes out to tell Theodore that the deal is done when Julie runs up to them and tells him that she's in love. SC says, yeah, I know, I just bought 17 Kongs, but no, she's just met a boy on the beach. And he sings like an angel.
Julie doesn't want those men anymore and suggests that SC give them to the zoo. SC is confused. She found someone else to love at night on the beach? SC once again asks about the muscle men, but Julie doesn't care. He says it was an expensive deal. But so what? She's in love, and isn't that what he wanted for her? Yeah, SC says, but he fears that this is a love now, pay later plan. SC tells Theodore to go work on the muscleman contract. Maybe he can salvage something out of that deal.
Then Jack is placing a call to his silent partner, Mr. Strangdower. He tells him all about the gyms and the bread and the TV series they'll produce with her money. Mr. Strangdower is either really upset by this call because he's breaking boards and bricks and things that are placed on his desk, or maybe he just does that for fun. Then he starts tearing up the phone.
Well, he does bend things, you know. The next day, Jack lines up his greasy bohunks in anticipation of Julie's imminent arrival. But Julie's car goes right past them to the beach party kid's house. Jack is very confused. A little while later, when Julie and SC are driving away, Jack stops them. He wonders what's up, and it comes out that SC hasn't made Flex Mr. Something Else yet. Flex grabs SC by the lapels and hauls him up. SC promises he's going to get right to it. Then Flex demands that Julie talk to him. She hasn't done so yet today. Julie tells Flex that she will never forget him, and this doesn't placate Flex at all. Julie wishes him well in future endeavors and asks SC to drive her to Cappy's. SC's driver takes off, but SC leaves his lapels behind.
Flex throws the pieces of fabric to the ground and says that he wants his Julie. And Jack tells him to forget about her. After all, they still have each other.
You make of that what you will. And now we go to Cappy's place. We met Cappy in the first beach party movie, and sadly he's here too. Cappy's wearing a stupid Chinese dragon mask again and spouting some nonsense, beat poetry, whatever. But then things get better as he introduces Dick Dale, who starts a new song. It's called My First Love, and this song slaps.
As the song starts, Frankie comes in, and he and Dee Dee make up and start dancing.
What? That's more to it than that. Frankie sneaks up behind Dee Dee and covers her eyes with his hands to make her guess who's there. She guesses Bluebeard, and that's not right, so she guesses Henry VIII, and Frankie says that's not right. She turns around and looks at him and says, I was right the first time. Frankie tries to make her forgive him without actually saying he's sorry, and somehow it works. And to celebrate that apology, Frankie and Dee Dee start dancing.
Essie and Julie come in. Essie looks around and says that if it wasn't for the dancing, this place would be raided. Then the song changes to Muscle Beach Party. Cappy in his dragon mask tells them to take a seat, and then tells them to wait. He's going to come down and talk to them because he doesn't get to talk to real people very often.
He's in some sort of cage that's also an elevator. It's up on the second floor of the club, but he comes down to the first level.
Cappy introduces himself and notices that a couple of guys have entered and have started setting up recording equipment. As Z explains that they would like to make a recording and starts handing bills to Cappy. 100, 150, 200. What kind of recording, Cappy asks?
SC tells Cappy that they're going to record Frankie there. Cappy's not really interested, though, and shows him his earplugs that he wears so he can keep out the teenage noise. And now it's time for human agitator Candy Johnson to shimmy, shake, and earthquake, to SC's amazement. He wonders if Julie feels it too, but she thinks it only affects men. SC, like the other men before her, is felled by one shake of Candy's hips.
Cappy explains that's the reason he stays in this cage. He used to have a better place than this, but it was demolished, all on account of strangers like SC. And Cappy asks if he's not an anthropologist or sex maniac or something. SC tells him he doesn't have any hobbies.
And if you recognize that, then you watched the first Beach Party movie. And if not, go listen to the second episode of this podcast, because we talked about it. Julie goes over to Frankie's table, and Dee Dee snarks that the mafia's here. Julie says that she's here to hear Frankie sing. Dee Dee says, go for it, Caruso, and she storms off in a huff. SC tells the men with the recording equipment to roll tape, and Frankie gets up to sing a song about how great Cappy's place is.
The song is called Runnin' Wild, and as he sings, he's dancing with a cute surfer girl, but it's not too long before Julie cuts in. When the song ends, Frankie and Julie take a seat at a table, and Julie starts to tell him what she has planned for him. They're going to record him singing and release it.
In the calm before the storm, Julie starts telling Frankie how it's going to be a best-selling record. Dee Dee has witnessed all this, and it fractured her already fragile good mood. And then when she sees Frankie kiss Julie on the cheek, she goes ballistic. She almost has Julie backed out the door when Jack and his muscle brigade enter.
Flex is happy to see Julie. Julie is not as happy to see Flex.
That's because he scooped her up like a little girl.
Yeah, he picks her up, and she tells him to put her down. Jack goes to SC and reminds him that they had a contract, and SC assures him that he'll get everything they promised him. But Jack tells him it's more than that. Julie has hurt Flex's feelings. And Julie tells Flex that it's not that she doesn't like muscles anymore, it's just that she's found something more exciting. Him, she says, pointing at Frankie, who looks very smug.
As you might expect, Flex is surprised that Julie picked scrawny Frankie over him. Jack can't believe it either, and neither can Dee Dee, who's still looking on. Jack calls for a war. Frankie calls for backup. And just when all seems lost, and after SC hustles Julie to safety, Deadhead enters and hollers,
"Hey, everybody, surf's up!"
Perfect imitation.
And they all file out except for Frankie and Dee Dee. Dee Dee, who's standing in the corner, asks Frankie how he's going to get out of this one.
Well, obviously he has a plan. He jumps up, grabs the bottom of Cappy's cage, and uses it to hurtle over the hunks. Well, he lands on one of them and gets up, and then he runs back out to the beach to join his friends.
So now Frankie and Julie are walking around the beach. He asks her if she meant what she said about the records.
Well, they're on their way back to the beach house. She starts wooing Frankie with thoughts of a surfing world cruise on her yacht, and he's enchanted, and the two kiss.
And now we're back at the beach house, where the gang is dancing on the porch, while Dick Dale and Donna Loren are performing Muscle Bustle.
She has such a great voice. I love seeing her in any movie.
As they're dancing the muscle bustle, some of the couples are sharing sweaters.
It's a very odd sweater knit for two. This song does what it's designed to do. It makes Jack, Fanny, and the muscle men furious. They're mocking them. Their fake muscle moves don't impress Jack much. And Jack chooses violence for his muscle men to perpetrate against everyone else. Theodore comes into the room and Jack takes his ire out on him. He has one of his hunks drop a barbell on him.
Now there's a bonfire on the beach and the gang is singing Surfin' Woody a cappella. As they finish, Frankie runs over and says, "Can you believe it? One record and wham!" I guess he has a hit already?
Well, there's boxes of his record on the beach there. He's basically ruined everyone's good mood. Frankie invites the whole gang to Macau, etc., all on his new girlfriend's dime. Johnny's response is to smash one of Frankie's smash hits, and Deadhead says he's going to take one of those records and use it as a skimboard.
Frankie tries to tell them that he's planning on cutting them all in. Turns out they just don't like a sellout.
Johnny says to tell the Contessa, thanks, but no thanks. Frankie's not happy with his attitude, but Johnny is adamant. Frankie can go that route, but he's going to go alone. Golden surfboards don't float. Then one of the gang says that they should go to Cappy's and shake off the bad vibes there.
So they all leave except for Johnny, who hangs back to wish Frankie luck with La Dolce Vita before heading out himself.
Julie enters the beach house and only Dee Dee is there. She tells Julie she should look for Frankie down around the rocks by the shore. Julie wants to know if Dee Dee is okay with Frankie leaving, which surprises Dee Dee. She didn't know about that. Julie says that she and Frankie are sailing off together tonight. Dee Dee tells her, ciao. Julie's surprised that Dee Dee isn't mad, and Dee Dee blows off a little steam at her. She is mad, but more than anything, she wants Frankie to be happy, even if it's with her. And then, as she always does, she storms out.
SC, who had been listening to this exchange, tells Julie that Frankie is a nice kid, and he had a nice girl until Julie got in the middle of all that. He tells Julie that she and Frankie come from different worlds, and maybe this isn't going to work out.
Julie wants to know, why can't she be happy just because she's rich? And SC says, there are people for people, and Julie and Frankie aren't from the same strata of people. Then Frankie returns, at first happy to be leaving with Julie. SC plays along at first and then gives Frankie the lowdown of his new future with her. In a nutshell, everything he will have or do will be financed with Julie's money. He'll be a bird in a gilded cage, but she'll let him out occasionally. Frankie isn't happy. That isn't what he wanted. Julie says Frankie should ignore SC, but then SC lays it out. Frankie will be the latest in a long string of passion projects. They weren't so much protégés as puppy dogs. Julie turns on SC in anger, and Frankie sneaks away without saying goodbye.
Julie is furious with SC for driving Frankie off. And SC explains that this time was different. Someone could have gotten hurt. Even her. I am hurt, she says.
And now at last some good news. We cut to Cappy's club where little Stevie Wonder in his film debut is performing Happy Street. It is delightful, and everyone dances the twist. And they're having a blast until Frankie walks in. Dee Dee tries to leave, but Frankie forcibly restrains her. He sits her down at the table. He's got something to say, not just to her. He's going to say it to everyone. Dick Dale quips, is it bon voyage? And then Deadhead starts singing a little song about how Frankie's a gold digger.
Frankie admits he got a little out of control, and he apologizes to everyone. And then he tells Dee Dee that he loves her, and they kiss. Julie and SC have come in for the last part of Frankie's apology.
Dee Dee nods at Frankie and allows him to go over. Frankie tells Julie it's over. He should have told her back at the house, but he's a little chicken. But also, like she said, there's people for people and people for places. These are his people, and this is his place.
But then, Jack Fanny comes in with his muscle men. There's going to be a fight. Cappy is rightfully worried they're going to destroy his place again. And this fight goes on for a while. Guys are thrown into walls, including Deadhead, who makes a new friend in the alley.
A scruffy dog.
One of the muscle girls punches someone in the stomach over and over and over again.
With a timpani accompaniment. Finally, SC wants it to end, and he goes over to Candy and tells her to do her thing. And she does, indiscriminately. Her hips knock over one man and then another. It's all at random. Flex has hoisted Frankie up in the air, and the battle rages on until Mr. Strangdower breaks down the door, comes in to command everyone to stop fighting. It takes a little bit, but eventually they do. They literally freeze.
Mr. Strangdower demands that Flex put Frankie down. Frankie goes to thank him and says, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" Mr. Strangdower says, "Probably, after all. I am the strongest man in the world." He then grabs Flex by the ear and takes him home, while Flex begs him, "Daddy, please don't spank me."
This movie has some really weird subtext. It's not very dignified either. Jack is crushed at how it all turned out. He was told to wait for Mr. Strangdower in his office. Then Frankie turns to look at the camera one last time and asks, "Do we believe that?" I guess we do. It did just happen.
Now we're back on the beach, and the gang has started another bonfire.
One of the beach gang, played by Michael Nader, brings a dazed Deadhead down to the beach and sits him next to the fire.
Frankie and Dee Dee are back together and happy, and the gang looks out on the water and sees that Julie's boat is leaving.
Dee Dee asks Frankie if he's sorry she's going without him, and he says nah. Over on the deck of the yacht, Theodore is happy to leave, but Julie says that she's going to miss Frankie. SC says he knows. He asks where she wants to go next, and she says something about people for people, and then she kisses him on the cheek. And then the credits tell us that this is not the end, and we revisit a few of the film's songs as the major players are credited.
The cast is introduced one by one as they show bits of songs they've sung or lines they've said, or in the case of Candy Johnson, moves they've made. Then Candy dances as little Stevie Wonder comes out to reprise Happy Street.
He's also playing along on various instruments, and Candy is shimmying her heart out.
And lastly, we're informed that the producers extend special thanks to Mr. Peter Lorre for his contribution to this film as Mr. Strangdower, soon to be seen in Bikini Beach.
Unfortunately, not. That's sad. Eventually, the song and the movie come to a merciful end, but Candy does one big finish shake that shatters the viewer's screens. And that's the end. Welcome back to the American International Podcast, where we're talking about Muscle Beach Party from 1964.
In October 1963, Variety wrote that a film was being made as a sequel to the 1963 release Beach Party for American International Pictures. Filming began in December of that year, and beach shots were filmed at Topanga Beach, a top surf spot, and at Mae West's Beach House in Malibu, California. The film had a budget of $1 million.
This is the second of AIP's Beach Party movie cycle, to be followed by Bikini Beach Pajama Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, Ski Party, and How to Stuff a Wild Bikini. Funicello plays the same character she did in Beach Party, although in this film and in 3 others that follow, she goes by Dee Dee instead of Delores. John Ashley's character, who was previously called Ken, is now known as Johnny.
Harvey Lembeck's Eric Von Zipper character and his Rats gang from Beach Party are absent in this film, although they return for Bikini Beach Pajama Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, and The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. Lembeck as Von Zipper, but Sans Rat Gang also appeared in a cameo in Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine. Lembeck also appeared with Frankie Avalon in Sergeant Deadhead, and in Fireball 500, another Avalon Funicello vehicle, as 2 entirely different characters.
Oh, I didn't know that. Jody McCrea almost missed his opportunity to be cast in the Beach Party sequel. He said, quote, "After doing Beach Party, I left the country for Europe, traveling the long way via Hawaii and Asia with my mother and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale." Oh, fancy. He says that I had no idea while I was traveling that Beach Party had become a big hit. For me, it was just a one-shot movie that I appeared in. AIP called McCrea while he was overseas and working on a deal with Arthur Rank's son in England, but that fell through and McCrea was able to commit to Muscle Beach Party and more sequels.
Rock Stevens was a world-class bodybuilder named Peter Lupus before he signed with AIP, who changed his name. Donna Loren, known as the Dr. Pepper Girl in 1964, was not supposed to appear in this film. Dr. Pepper invested in the film in return for product placement, and Loren was only supposed to make a cameo, possibly drinking a Dr. Pepper. But after she was invited to sing a duet with Dick Dale, AIP signed her to a contract.
And deservedly so. Peter Lorre appears briefly near the end of the film, and we did mention how in the credits they tell us that he's going to appear in Bikini Beach. However, Lorre died in March of 1964, only 4 days before the film's release, so this was his only appearance in the series.
Producer James H. Nicholson and executive producer Samuel Z. Arkoff claimed to be unaware they were infringing the title of a 1959 novel by Ira Wallach called Muscle Beach. No conflict was indicated by the Motion Picture Association of America, as AIP did not register titles with the organization. However, the company obtained an insurance policy as a precaution. A December 1963 Variety article revealed that producer Martin Ransohoff, who was planning a film version of the Wallach novel, was seeking a new title for his picture. He eventually settled on Don't Make Waves, which was released in 1967.
The original score for Muscle Beach, like Beach Party before it, was composed by Les Baxter. But Roger Christian, Gary Usher, and Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys wrote 6 songs for the film.
The The colorful hand-painted mural that is shown in full and in detail as background during the opening credits is by California artist Michael Dormer, whose surfer cartoon character Hot Curl can also be glimpsed throughout the film, including on the wall at Cappy's club.
This is the second and last time Avalon or any other, quote, teenagers in the cast smoked cigarettes on screen in the series. The Surgeon General's report on smoking was released on January 11, 1964, while Muscle Beach Party was being filmed. Later, AIP announced a ban on cigarette smoking in all its movies, beginning with Bikini Beach.
Don Rickles' character Jack Fanny is a spoof of gym owner Vic Tanny, the owner of a chain of health clubs in the 1950s and 1960s, who relied on a lot of TV ads for promotion.
Muscle Beach Party was released as a single feature on March 25, 1964. According to the January 6, 1964 edition of Daily Variety, excerpts of Muscle Beach Party were screened at a reception that day for the National General Corporation Theater Managers, sponsored by AIP. In attendance were cast members Frankie Avalon, Annette Funicello, Luciana Paluzzi, and Peter Lorre. 2 months later, the March 12, 1964 Daily Variety reported that 8 cast members, including Funicello, Avalon, McCrea, John Ashley, Amity Chabot, Delores Wells, Morey Amsterdam, and Alberta Nelson, would each be assigned a region of the U.S. for promotional tours.
Daily Variety announced the picture's scheduled premiere in San Francisco, California at the Warfield Theater and the Geneva Drive-In. Openings followed in Los Angeles, California on April 1st and in New York City on May 27th.
Taglines for Muscle Beach Party include, when 10,000 biceps meet 5,000 bikinis, you know what's going to happen.
Spread those beach blankets.
It's Beach Party all over again, but this time with muscle. The swingingest surf and sand you ever saw.
Here, 8 new swim hits.
Woohoo! Muscle Beach Party debuted as the #1 film at the box office the week of March 23, 1964. It appeared on an astonishing 305 screens that week and took in $1,567,000. The next highest ranking movie that week was Tom Jones, which only appeared on 28 screens but took in nearly $400,000.
Sean L. Scott of the Los Angeles Times called Muscle Beach Party a romantic, slightly satirical film comedy with songs which should prove popular with members of the 2 younger sets of concerns, surfers and muscle men, and with oldsters who don't mind the juvenile antics.
Variety wrote that the novelty of surfing is worn off, leaving in its wake little more than a conventional teenage-geared romantic farce with songs. Whenever the story bogs down, which it does quite often, someone runs into camera range and yells, "Surf's up!" This is followed by a series of cuts of surfers in action. It's all very mechanical.
The monthly film bulletin stated, indifferently scripted and lacking the brightening presence of Dorothy Malone and Bob Cummings, this is an excruciatingly unfunny and unattractive sequel to Beach Party. William Asher's direction remains quite bright, but that is about all that could be said for the film.
James Powers of The Hollywood Reporter wrote, American International is a box office weightlifter, a Hercules hit in Muscle Beach Party. The key is a script by Robert Dillon. His attitude is mildly satirical, sharp enough for the kids, who are very sharp, yet retaining a romantic flavor, which the immature cynics want, even though they may knock it.
That's a brave statement. The Golden Laurel, which had no ceremony but published its award results in the trade magazine Motion Picture Exhibitor from 1958 to 1971, nominated Annette Funicello for Best Female Musical Performance for this film in 1965. That was also a brave statement.
Should have gone to Donna, Loren. This film was banned in Burma, along with Ski Party Bikini Beach and Beach Blanket Bingo.
Since Muscle Beach Party is part of a series, of course there are cast members here who appeared in other AIP product. Frankie Avalon, who played Frankie, lent his singing voice to Alakazam the Great in 1960, and then appeared in person in Panic in Year Zero in 1962, Operation Bikini in 1963, Beach Party also in 1963. In 1964, he appeared in Bikini Beach and Pajama Party. 1965 at Beach Blanket Bingo, Ski Party, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, Sergeant Deadhead, and Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine. He then appeared in Fireball 500 in 1966 and The Million Eyes of Sumeru in 1967, and finally Horror House in 1969.
We sure get a lot of Frankie Avalon around here. Annette Funicello as Dee Dee is no slouch either. She was in Beach Party 63. She also appeared in the beach movies Bikini Beach, Pajama Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, Ski Party, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine in a cameo, Fireball 500 in 1966, and in Thunder Alley in 1967.
Luciana Paluzzi as Contessa Juliana Giotto-Borgini had appeared in Journey to the Lost City in 1960, and would appear in 99 Women in 1969, which was released by Commonwealth United Entertainment Incorporated and distributed and later also released by AIP, and The Italian Connection in 1972.
Prior to his beach party career, we saw John Ashley, who played Johnny, in Drag Strip Girl in 1957, Motorcycle Gang, also 1957. In 1958, he was in Suicide Battalion, How to Make a Monster, and Hot Rod Gang. And of course, he appeared in Beach Party, Bikini Beach, Beach Blanket Bingo, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, Sergeant Deadhead. He also went on to do Attack of the Eye Creatures in 1967, an AITV original. And finally in Savage Sisters in 1974.
Don Rickles as Jack Fanny had previously appeared in X, the Man with the X-Ray Eyes in 1963, and then would appear as different characters in a few other of the beach movies, such as Bikini Beach, Pajama Party, and Beach Blanket Bingo.
Jody McCrea as Deadhead also did time in the Beach Party movies, but before that he appeared in Operation Bikini. He was in Beach Party, Bikini Beach, Pajama Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, and How to Stuff a Wild Bikini. And he finally got away from the beach, appearing in The Glory Stompers in 1967.
Muscle Beach Party was Dick Dale and the Deltones' second and final appearance in one of the beach movies, the first being Beach Party in 1963.
Candy Johnson shook her stuff in Beach Party, Bikini Beach, and Pajama Party.
Rock Stevens, who played Flex Martian, would play a very different character in future AIP product. He would appear in Hercules and the Tyrants of Babylon in 1964, Goliath and the Conquest of Damascus in 1965, Challenge of the Gladiator in 1965, and Giant of the Evil Island in 1965.
Valora Noland, who played Animal, was in Beach Party. Delores Wells, Sniffles, was in Beach Party, Bikini Beach, and in 1964 she appeared in The Time Travelers. And Donna Loren, as Donna, appeared in Bikini Beach, Pajama Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, and Sergeant Deadhead.
Muscle Beach Party is the third and final movie that Morey Amsterdam would appear in for AIP. We covered his movies in previous episodes of the podcast, such as when we looked at Machine Gun Kelly in 1958 and Beach Party in 1963.
Well, we looked at them in 2023, but the movies were from previous years. Little Stevie Wonder played himself in one more movie, Bikini Beach, in 1964, and Dan Haggerty, who played Biff and who would go on to be Grizzly Adams, was in an uncredited role in Chrome and Hot Leather in 1971.
Alberta Nelson, as Lisa, one of the Muscle Girls, regularly appeared as one of Eric Von Zipper's rats in the Beach Party movies, Beach Party, Bikini Beach, Pajama Party, Beach Blanket Bingo, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini. She appeared in Sergeant Deadhead, Dr. Golfa and the Bikini Machine, and The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini in 1966 as well.
Peter Lorre, who played Mr. Strangdower, did no more Beach Party movies. He's well known for appearing in some of the post-cycle movies, including Tales of Terror in 1962, The Raven in 1963, and he was in The Comedy of Terrors, also in 1963.
And director William Asher's other AIP credits include Beach Party, Bikini Beach, Beach Blanket Bingo, How to Stuff a Wild Bikini, and Fireball 500.
And now, Jeff, after we've said all that, I'm going to take a little break because I'm going to ask you what you thought of Muscle Beach Party using our AIP scale, where A is awesome, I is intermediate, and P is pathetic.
Well, Muscle Beach Party is the second of the Beach Party movies, and from what we've seen here, after the success of Beach Party, AIP had a difficult time figuring out what it was that made the first one work. So we follow up what is probably the best of the Beach Party movies with what is arguably the worst of the Beach Party movies, Muscle Beach Party. I can't point out exactly what went wrong here, but the antagonists might well be a big part of it. The muscle men are annoying, sure, and Jack Fanny is downright obnoxious, but they don't hold the candle to the villainy of Eric Von Zipper and his rats. Mostly because the muscle men are just very uninteresting. The Beach Party movies are not known for their continuity, so I appreciated the little bits and references to Beach Party included here. Besides the recurring characters, though even they lack some continuity, Delores has started going by Dee Dee, and Rhonda, for some reason, is now called Animal. Or is that supposed to be a different character altogether? Ken is now Johnny, and Sue is now Sniffles. But Frankie and Deadhead and Dick Dale are back, and so is Cappy, who makes several references to the events in the last movie. But as much as I enjoyed those aspects, the story here just isn't very good. To set things in motion, Frankie and Dee Dee have to fight, of course, and this fight is over something so trivial, I have to wonder why they were ever together in the first place. And along those lines, how did two East Coast-born Italians become the poster children for the California surfing scene anyway? But I digress. Now about the music. Most of the songs don't really fit in here. I'm sure most of them would be fine under other circumstances. It's interesting that the songs were composed by Roger Christian and Gary Usher and Brian Wilson because Roger Christian and Gary Usher had composed the songs for Beach Party, and those worked well within that context. So was it the addition of Brian Wilson to the mix that made these songs feel awkward? Maybe due to his reputation as a musical genius, they're just more complex than one would expect from a storyline where everything else is so simple. Even when the gang is sitting around the campfire singing an a cappella version of Surfin' Woody, it didn't feel natural to me, just kind of awkward. Another song, Muscle Bustle, is cute, but man, what a waste of Lana Loren's voice. She's capable of so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest offender, musically, has to be A Girl Needs a Boy. Written by Guy Hemrick and Jerry Steiner, logistically, it plays the same purpose as Treat 'Em Nicely did in Beach Party, and both those songs were written by the same duo. And the problem isn't so much with the song itself, but with the production. As we talked about, Annette Funicello's voice is multi-tracked, and it doesn't sound at all like someone would sound sitting alone on the beach singing a song. Not that there's anything natural about that situation anyway, but it really took me out of the movie. I have nothing bad to say about the Stevie Wonder song, though. On a side note, we do have Buddy Hackett and Don Rickles, two of the greatest insult comics of all time, sharing screen time, and that's pretty cool, and it would be even better if they had appeared in a better movie. All in all, I feel this was a big swing and a miss from AIP. Though it was fun to revisit some old friends, it would have been nice to have seen them have more to do. So Muscle Beach Party gets an I from me. What are your thoughts, Cheryl?
Oh, I have thoughts. Let me start out by saying I didn't enjoy this movie. I rated the first Beach Party movie an A, and I consider this a subpar sequel. But how far of a grade drop is Muscle Beach Party from its predecessor? In order to decide, I'm going to list all the things that didn't work for me, and then all the things that did, and I'll see what that tells me. The biggest knock against this film is the introduction of the bodybuilders as the movie's antagonists. The muscle men are presented as ridiculous stereotypes, and only one of them is allowed even a fraction of a personality, and it's not a good one. Then they are led by Jack Fanny, played to maximum annoyance by Don Rickles. He seems to know nothing about muscles, or perhaps the screenwriters didn't, as he keeps repeating buzzwords like latissimus when he's not just making shit up. By the second scene, I was tired of him, and tired of the beach himbos and their tiny satin trunks, and it really got no better after that. The main problem is that this movie splits the focus so completely that the Beach Party gang cedes over half the screen time to other characters, to the point where they feel like secondary players in their own movie. I think this was a big mistake that made the movie far more tedious than it otherwise would have been. And my next biggest problem, and it's a big one, is with the Frankie Dee Dee relationship. It could hardly be more obvious that these two are not compatible. Here we learn that Frankie wants to be a beach bum for as long as possible, while Dee Dee wants to be a suburban housewife. And instead of deciding that their dreams are too different for them to work as a couple long-term, they bicker, they separate, and moments later, Frankie finds himself in the clutches of another woman. And rather than feel shame about it, he rubs Dee Dee's face in it, forcing her to watch while he runs around with someone else, and then he gaslights her when she confronts him about it, and says it's not what it looks like, even though to us and to everyone else, it looks like he's canoodling with someone else. I know the term ethical non-monogamy wasn't bandied about back then, but there was still a such thing as ethics, and it's not ethical to make out with someone else and expect your partner wouldn't be able to complain about it. I'm not letting Dee Dee off the hook, though. She's not perfect either. Her insistence that Frankie sacrifice his dream for hers is very arrogant, especially since she's asking him to live a lifestyle that she wants but is abhorrent to him. She may be ready to settle down to a life of household drudgery and popping out babies, but she can't demand that he give up his dreams to finance that life. Such a desire should be shared by both putative husband and wife. Those two really should break up, and for good. The constant bickering, cheating, apologizing cycle is not healthy, and it's no fun to watch. Lastly, considering that the Beach Party kids have what I thought of as a reduced amount of screen time compared to the first film, it's too bad that so much of that time is spent on that stupid fight at Cappy's, though we saw something similar in the first film, and on surfing montages. At least in Beach Party, the Robert Cummings subplot integrated Frankie and Ned and the rest of the kids. In this movie, it's the Contessa and her entourage who get integrated into the bodybuilders subplot, main plot. And for a little while, Frankie and Annette do too. But the surfer boys and girls mostly just watch from the sidelines as we, the audience, do. So, going over to the good side, I did like some of the songs in this movie, and like you, the song I didn't care for the most was the drippy Frankie and Annette love song. I didn't like them in either movie, Beach Party or this movie. They come across as whiny and in service of a doomed relationship. However, I do like the Dick Dale musical interludes, and in this movie, I really did like My First Love and Muscle Bustle featuring Donna Loren. Sure, it was silly, but geez, what a voice in that gal. I thought those were good songs. And of course, this movie features the debut of a singer who had achieved more fame than anyone else in the movie, Stevie Wonder. Happy Street is such a fun song, and it's great to see the surfer gang jump up to dance along with it. It's just that infectious. Really a highlight of the film. Next best for me is Deadhead, and I can't fully explain why, but his gawky, good-natured hayseed charm just works on me. He's utterly adorable, and I'd gladly watch more of him in anything. I thought the character of SZ would start to annoy me as much as Jack Fanny did, but surprisingly, it went the other way. Buddy Hackett exercised significant restraint in playing the wheeler-dealer businessman who was also at the beck and call of a very rich and somewhat spoiled woman. And by dialing back the shtick and amping up the simple human decency of the character, I found myself really liking him, surprisingly. I think that his influence also helped to ground the flighty, flirty Contessa till I found myself sympathizing with her and her big, sad brown eyes. Don't cry over Frankie, Avalon, Contessa. He's not worth it. I hope SC and Juliana ended up together as the movie hinted. And also, and I think I'm probably in the minority in this opinion, but between the scenery-chewing older generation playing parts in the movie, Rickles, Hackett, Morey Amsterdam, and Peter Lorre, the character actor well was overflowing, and it never occurred to me to miss Eric Von Zipper or Harvey Lembeck. So I guess the movie gets an average grade for me. It's teetering on a lower one, but there are enough winning performances to give it a bump to an I. I just wish these movies weren't so formulaic and vaudevillian in their humor, but they are, and I'll just have to deal with it. I'll be grading them against each other and not all movies if we do another one. In the Beach Party world, Muscle Beach Party earned an I for intermediate from me. All right, well, I'm exhausted after this day on Muscle Beach. For the American International Podcast, I'm Cheryl Lightfoot.
And I'm Jeff Markin.
And we'll meet you at the drive-in.
Follow the American International Podcast on Instagram and Letterboxd at AIP_pod and on Facebook at facebook.com/American International Podcast.
The American International Podcast is produced and edited by Jeff Markin.
A man whose mind is distorted by hatred.
And Cheryl Lightfoot.
A girl hungry for too many things.
The American International Podcast is part of the Pop Culture Entertainment Network.